Hello, friends. In the series of learning AWS Cloud, today we are going to focus on Elastic File System. So, in this session, we will begin with the understanding of the basic characteristics that this Elastic File System, being a storage service, is providing to us. And then we will dive into the AWS Management Console, where we will implement this EFS system with the instances that we have already launched in the EC2. So let's begin the understanding of Elastic File System in more detail. So here is the very first point, which is very important also, that what kind of service is this Elastic File System? So the very first point in this regard is that it is a storage service, or you could say it is a file-based storage service of the AWS. So that is the basic thing. And other thing is that it is highly elastic and scalable service. It is file storage, right? Highly elastic, highly scalable means whenever my demand of the service says that I need more space in the EFS to store my data, then it can be easily expanded. Okay, when my storage capabilities are reducing and I need to release certain of the storage space, then I can also release the space and can utilize only the lesser amount also. So this service is very simple web-based service, and it allow me to create and to configure the file systems with a quick instant of times. And the method is also very easy. You just need to follow certain steps of creation of Elastic file system, and you need to provide certain information related to the data where you wanted to deploy this EFS, right? Accordingly, you can easily configure it. Now, the biggest advantage of working with Elastic File System is that it is a fully managed service. So that is the basic, you could say that the characteristic that this particular services provide to us. So it is a fully managed kind of service been there. So by fully managed, I mean that I need not to work upon or to bother about the complexity of how I can deploy the machine, the files, or how to work with the patching and how I can maintain the complex file system deployments in there, because each and everything is managed for us by the vendors or the service providers. Okay, so this is the biggest advantage that we are getting while working with this EFS service under the AWS. So far what we have discussed, we have described that it is a file based storage service, highly elastic and scalable, simple web interface, and fully managed service it is. So these are the basic characteristics that this EFS service is having. Now let's understand more about what EFS service is and how does it works within the console. So in order to work with the Elastic file system, one thing that you need to remember is that it works with the network file system. So this is the important aspect in order to work with the EFS. You need to enable this protocol, okay? And this protocol is basically being supported by these two platforms, being the Linux and the Windows. So multiple EC2 instances can access the EFS service at the same time. So this is the another biggest benefit that EFS is providing to me. Okay, you could say that this particular service of Amazon Web Services is acting as a multi-tenancy model, right? And this entire service work in isolation also. If multiple instances are accessing the same EFS system, then one EFS or one instance is not aware of the other instance being present there. So that is why it is providing the common data source for workloads and applications running or more than one instances or the servers. So this is again a biggest advantage or the benefit of working with this Elastic file system. So another, if I am talking about the cost factor or the fee, you could say that, then you can only pay for whatever you are storing there. So it is a pay as you go model. So this is again the another characteristics of this service. It is a pay as you go model where you are not supposed to provide any provision fees in advance, okay, and you need not to reserve your space or storage space in the elastic file system. There is no minimum or a setup fee also. So this is the again the important aspect to understand. Furthermore, if I am describing you the another thing, usually this EFS service has been considered as an expensive service in comparison to the other cloud storage services which has been provided by AWS, being S3, EBS, or anything else, right? But you can here you can manage the cost also, because we have described the life cycle management model here also, where you can define certain classes of you could say that the storage classes of this EFS service. So usually there is a standard storage class, okay, and there is the one which is, you could say that, for the backup or for the archival, that is the another storage class. So you can place your data in the standard if it is being frequently accessed, and if the data is not being frequently accessed, you just have to save the data as a backup. You can shuffle it to the backup storage class, or the archival class. So it will actually consist of it will provide you less cost for storing the data here in comparison to the standard. So this is how you can also manage the cost of storing the data here in this kind of service as well. So now moving ahead, so as we are learning the AWS, and the security plays a vital role when we are talking about Amazon Web Services. So same is the case with this EFS service also. So usually what happens is that Amazon EFS systems store data and metadata across the multiple zones in a region. So for example, you have chosen a region, okay, and let's suppose it is North Virginia. So in the North Virginia region, you want to deploy this EFS service. Now we are aware that availability zones in the North Virginia are total 6. So in each availability zone, I have the capability to produce the replica of this EFS service. So that is why you can grow this particular service. You can expand the EFS service to the petabyte scale. So this is again another important aspect to understand here, just because of the security purpose for highly durability, providing the high durability, okay, and high availability kind of things. So EFS service is expanded across all the availability zones which are available in that region. So now EFS also supports, and you can also control the access of your file system by using by granting certain permissions. So this is the another facility which has been provided to the users of EFS. Okay, so the one POSIX permission is also been applicable in the use in this EFS service. So enable encryption also. So nowadays you can get automatic encryption enable option. So this will help you to store your data, to encrypt your data as well as your metadata. It is all up to you how you want this, whether you want to enable this auto encryption or not. So this is the aspect which is important to understand in context of EFS security. So later on, this is the last thing which I would like to let you know, that how we can actually configure this EFS system. So you can see that this is the Amazon EFS system, and we have created the file system, and under that file system, a number of folders are been there. Okay, so what will happen? Who can access the same file system? This file system has a name, or you could say that an ID been there. So as it has been associated within a region, so as I said earlier also, if that region is having, let's suppose, 3 availability zones, then what I will do, I have to create the replica of each EFS system in these. And how I can configure that value, replica in each availability zones? For that, I need to establish the VPCs, because I told you earlier as well, this file system can work only with the NFS facility. So this protocol needs to be enabled. So for that, networking is required. So this is the reason why in the VPC we can create different subnets, okay, in each availability zones, and we can have certain instances being launched in these availability zones who wanted to take the access of this common EFS system. So in order to do so, in order to make the efficient communication among instances and the file system, we need the mount targets. So this will be the important aspect to understand, that mount targets are playing an important role. So what we need to do is, in each availability zone, we need to set up at least one mount target, so that through this mount target, these instances can directly communicate with this file system. I hope that you have have got the general idea of what is this EFS service. So let's now switch to the Amazon Management Console and get more detail about how we can create the EFS service and how we can mount this particular service using the Linux instances. So let's start understanding about them in detail. So here I have been into my management console right now. So I have already created two instances, EC2 instances. So you can see here, these are the two EC2 instances present here. So what I need to do is, I am going to work with this particular instance right now. Okay. So for this instance, the very first aspect is to understand or to get its, you could say that, the security group. So this is the security group number. Let me copy that. The reason why I'm going to copy, just because I have to create a new security group here. Okay, so by default, the all the settings in this particular instance is like these are all by default settings. I have directly launched the instance without making any changes into the things. So now what we are going to do is, I have simply opened the instance and I have copied the security group ID of that. Okay, so let's scroll down in this EC2 dashboards navigation pane. Here under the network and security, we are getting the option of security groups. So just click on the security group. You can see that this is the by default the instance security group that we have just which is associated with the instance we have launched. So what we need to do here is, we need to create a new security group. Okay, so I can provide any of the name to this particular security group. So let's suppose it is EFS and security group. That's it. SG. Okay, so this is the name I have provided. And what else I wanted to provide here is, let us suppose I want to allow port 2049, because 2049 is the basic port through which the NFS protocol can be, you could say that, can start its communication. Okay, so here right now I am having only the default VPC, so I did it is already been selected here. The reason behind creation of the security group is, we have to add a rule here. The rule is, we want NFS protocol to be established. Okay, so let's search for the NFS. NFS is here. So as I said, NFS works on the 2049 port, right? Now, to which particular security group we want its communication. So here the source is the one which we have copied. Remember the instance security group we copied just before few minutes. So that you need to provide. It means that now this port is open for this particular instance. Okay, so this was the basic reason why we have launched this NFS service here. So I am not going to make any further changes into it, directly going to create the security group. So this was the very first step. Now my instance is having the facility to work with the NFS service. So this is what the point is overall. Now let's switch to the EFS service now. Before that, the name of the security group is this EFS. I am just also copying that. What if in near future I need it? So now in these services, I will simply go to the storage and can get the EFS service facility here. Okay, so you can go in any way. Either you can go into this right left hand side pane, or can directly search it under the storage services. Now this is the Elastic File System. For more clarity about what is this Amazon Elastic File System, you can approach this particular video. This will be available in all the accounts. So for the time being, I'm just going to create the EFS service. So you can see that the name is optional here. So I am just not typing anything. The important point here is the VPC which we are going to select here. So as in my portal, I am having only the default one. So I am going with this only. So the next point is that you can also directly click on the create button, and everything will be, all the steps will be done by default for you. But I will go for the customized because I have to create the mount targets also. So here they are asking me for enabling the automatic backup. I don't want that. So the life cycle management is there, as I was telling you. If you are having some frequently accessed data, you can choose the days, okay, accordingly. So then how your system is going to perform, it is a general, you are going to use this system for general purposes, or you want, or you are demanding maximum inputs and outputs. So depending upon your needs and the necessity of this EFS service, accordingly you can deploy. Same as with this throughput mode. We are provided here with two types of throughput mode. One is the bursting and another is the provisioned. So the bursting is that as the file size will increase, it will automatically scale up. Okay. Provision means you need to provision the some of the storage space in near future, in advance, you could say that. Like right now my need is only for 5 GB, but I will be provisioning 10 GB, just keeping in mind the future aspects. So I don't need the enable encryption right now, just because this is for demo purpose only. So I am just not going to avail these services. Directly switching to the next topic, next step. So here is the important step. The first thing is just verify whether you are under the default VPC only. And as I said, we are right now in the North Virginia region, right? And in the North Virginia, you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. There are 6 availability zones. As I was describing you in the presentation as well, we need to create the security groups in all the availability zones. So what I will do is, first of all, this is the default security group associated. I will eliminate them. And what I will do, each availability zone is having a subnet ID. Okay. This subnet is associated with this default VPC. So all are having the same. Just keep on verifying that. So in my case, it is not having any problem because I am having only one VPC, which is the default one. Now, this is the security group now which we need to select, the one which we have created right now. Remember, it was EFSSG. This is the security group that we have created. So we have to provide this security group here to all the, in all the availability zones. So I am going to provide it one by one. And this is done with the last. Now I am done with it, so I am just going to click next. So next they are asking me about if I have to impose any policy into this EFS. For the time being, as it is optional, so I am just skipping this point, directly heading next. So this will be a full-fledged description of what I have done. Okay, it is a review kind of thing, you could say that. So let's proceed ahead. Everything seems perfect here. So now it will take some time for the creation of this EFS service. So let it be done. And the EFS service is available now. So what else we need to work upon right now is just click on this service and then go to the network. Because right now what I have done, we have actually mounted the mount the target. These mount targets are being created here. Okay. So it will take a minute or two to create these mount targets. So we have to wait till that time since these mount targets have been created. And in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I have been into this particular terminal. Like I went to the EC2 in my instances. This particular instance was there. So I have directly copied it before. Okay. And I have launched it here. This particular user here. So what we need to do right now is we need to work with this particular instance. Okay. So this is the same IP 172.3.1.25178. So this is the same private IP. So my system is actually been connected via the remotely via this terminal in the PuTTY. So what I need to do here is, right now I am into this EC2 user mode. So just write a command sudo su, so that I could be able to change my command, my directory to the root user. So I am into the root user mode now. So still I think that the EFS service is deploying the mount targets. So let's look for that again in the networks. Okay, these are available right now. That's perfect. So what we need to do now is, so we are going to mount this EFS service with the instances that we have launched just now. Okay, so this is the one instance. So what I need to do here is, I need to type a command sudo yum install -y nfs utils. So I am going to install the NFS utilities here. So let's do that. So it is already been there. It is already installed. So that's again a perfect thing. So the other thing is that, so once you will click here, see, in this file system, this is the option of attach, because we want to attach this file system to our instances or the resources, right? So this mount, in order to mount your EFS system on a Linux instance, you have two options been there. Either you can mount via DNS, and you can mount via IP. So you can choose any of the option. So I'm going to choose this by default option, the DNS. So for that, some commands have been written. So what I need to do is, I need to copy this command, because I'm about to use this NFS client. But before that, what I'm going to do is, I am about to make a directory with the name MNT. So the directory is already here. That's again a good sign. So what I did is, I have simply copied it from here and writing the name of the directory, that is MNT. So let's say it is working fine. See students, one thing you need to remember here, I am eliminating, I have not used this EFS kind of thing here, just because this directory I have not created. I have already created a directory with the name MNT/MNT. That is why I have skipped this particular part while copying the data. Okay. So the next point is that, now I need to know that to get into this particular directory. So now I am into this MNT directory. So let's check what is being present, or whether this directory is associated with my instance or not. So it is already associated. That is again a good sign. So let's see what has been present here in this particular directory. So I am going to use the command ls-l. So nothing has been available here. So with the use of the touch command, let's create some files here. Any random files I am saying, choosing. So the files are created. So let's try to add some data into this. For that, the command is the vi. Let's suppose I want to add something into this f1 command. Okay, f1 for a file. So I will simply click enter. And in order to insert anything here, I need to press I key from my keyboard. So as soon as I press I key from the keyboard, the insert option is available here. See. So now I am able to write anything here. So just anything data is modified, or anything you can write here. And once you are done with what you want to do with this particular data, now is the time to press this escape colon and WQ, and then enter to come out from this particular directory. Okay, so this is what we have done so far. So now let's again check what is being present in this directory. So data is already been available here. So that's again a good thing. So let's start. So the point here is that now this much of data is available in this instance, and we have created four files in this instance. So I have already entered into the new instance also. So it is inactive. So let me make it active again. So I'm going to create a new session. So in order to create a new session, I need the instance host IP address, right? So let's go and get that. So this is the second instance. So this is the public IPv4 DNS, copying it and pasting it here. SSH, auth, open. Okay, so it has been coming like EC2 hyphen user and then sudo su. Okay, so this is the another instance. Now we will verify that this instance we haven't configured anything. The EFS is not configured, but I am able to configure to get the details of EFS instance from here as well. So let's get into that also. So what I need now is I need the same command which the EFS was having. So going into this, attach. So this command I need again, sudo this, and pasting the command here, and then typing the same directory mnt. So you can see that this directory mnt is responding me here well. It means that the directory which was associated with the instance has not also been associated with this particular instance. And now if I can check how many files are available, so see, I can see the same files which I have created in this particular directory in the in the EFS system, it is present here. So this is how, this was the last step. This is how we can use the mount targets to avail the facility of EFS service. So with this, thank you so much, students, for watching this session. Thank you.